Ladies and gentlemen, a little earlier today, but nonetheless, as fun as always, Unscripted with the Crack Man, Bill Krackomberger. Yeah. And it's a little something like this. Billy!
Hey.
What's happening, man? Oh, I don't want to interrupt. You making bets over there?
No, I just, it's just it's a struggle to make bets. We're still antiquated here in certain ways. And, when you put bets in, these apps have this problem with this toggle.
Yes.
And this is the big sports books too. This is Circa, this is Westgate, this is South Point. It's the software they use. I just showed you acquiring location. Couldn't get on. Couldn't even make the bet. I turned Wi-Fi on. Turned Wi-Fi off.
Yeah, it used to be the pro tip here, and these are a couple pro tips here for people coming into town. The pro tip with the apps, because the apps will be frustrated. You'll come from a state that'll have better apps than we do.
Yes.
It will often take you to turn off the Wi-Fi to get it to work.
Yes.
That seems to not be as universal anymore. But that could be a way to do it. The other thing is I should give Jay Root a shout. I should give him a shout every year on this day. Jay Root was the first guy when he was the vice president of racing sports at MGM to put up first to 15 bets. Kelley, did you used to do this all the time at MGM? Now everybody does it. But it used to do first to 15 bets. It used to be the greatest thing ever.
It's a great bet.
It's a great bet.
By the way, great. I didn't know he did that. Wow.
Oh, we used to do it all the time, and it's also the biggest cheer in the sports book because most people are betting the dog, and then once they get to 15, they switch allegiances. They probably have the favorite, right? So it's a whole thing. They used to, so just the history of it. Jay was the first to put it up at 15. It was awesome. I remember hitting like Notre Dame against Kentucky, the Julius Randle teams, like for huge money. It's like betting the Tigers against the Yankees on a Wednesday in July, that kind of payoff. Then they messed around with it for a little while. They went to they tried 10s and 20s. The 20s, the favorite would manifest too many times, so like no one would win on those. The 10s was so quick that the book was like, well, this isn't good for us. We're not putting that up. Now they figured out the 10s, and some people still offer to 10, but like the bang for your buck's not all that great. You can grind out a profit, but 15 is the sweet spot.
So are they still offering 15 somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen
Caesars does.
Caesars
offers that, and Circa offers first to 10.
Yeah.
First to 10 is very interesting. I made a lot of bets last night at Circa first to 10. Mostly underdogs, but then again, I think I bet Houston laid a lot because I thought it was worth. Giving out some plays here, pending at Circa. Okay, yes. Let's get right in with this first. Alan Boston gave me.
Please.
He said Kentucky to advance to the Sweet 16. I bet at plus 165 at Westgate, plus 150, and it's plus 155 even. You can find this around. I thought that was a really good, the trip to the 16 seemed like a really good bet.
Kentucky to the Sweet 16.
Kentucky to the Sweet 16.
Shop around.
Yeah, shop around. You could find that. I was looking. We were looking for it at the Elite 8 to the Elite 8 too.
Mm-hmm.
Still, again, not to pick on the Vegas books, but we're very, very behind. The books all back east all have first.
We talked
Elite
about it
8.
from DraftKings yesterday.
Yeah, they don't have it. They don't have it here. So, but like,
did he have something to the Elite 8 though? Did he have any bets?
Same team.
Kentucky to the Elite 8. What was the number on that?
You know what? I don't remember. We didn't even have it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, literally, you can see my Circa app. I mean, it's filled with bets.
I'm gonna guess it's double. It's double the bang for your buck, or a little more than double the bang.
Oh, it's yes. So, anyway, like
from the Sweet 16, then
teams to the first 10. I bet Colgate plus 235. Houston minus 365. We kind of thought that was way too low for Houston to the first 10. Now, first 10's a tricky bet, but Houston comes right out a lot and will do that, even if they have one of their big guys down.
Colgate plus 235 is interesting, though.
Colgate plus 235. I think I bet a peanut on Princeton, just a peanut. Iona taking 2-1, just in case Patino gets them going on the first 10. It's first to 10. FAU, Allen Boston like that one a lot, just to let you know. FAU first to 10. Matter of fact.
Does he like them for the game? Do you remember?
Yeah. For the game, we actually, I bet it at Caesars plus 3 minus 20. This could be, I'll buy the 2 and 3 on these tournament games, and Allen also. And let me just tell you something, Mr. Walters also. I'll give you guys some insight. I'm sure someone will come on here and say, well, you're ruining our edge. giving that away to someone. I mean,
even when they assume we're talking about them when we're not, kind of thing.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
We get the telephone tough guys
as
all the
we've
time.
learned.
Drake also, I bought the 3-20. Might be a big guy out of Miami, the center. So could be a situation. I don't really middle games, but if you have a key player that maybe announced not playing, or maybe he's not, even if he's playing, is not really healthy, maybe take the plus 3-20 there. And I seen one of those places had $1.16 money line the other way. Whew. I will put a large amount. Matter of fact, I'll put my bankroll, a big portion of my bankroll, on something like that. When you get +3 and a pick -16, are you kidding me? It's a really good bet. The keyest numbers in college basketball, 2 and 3. Let's start out by saying this. So I had Alan Boston on my podcast this week.
Wise Cracks with John Orlando.
It's on right now. It's on YouTube. It's on WSN site. But I also tweeted it out. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's really a good methodical breakdown of every single first round game. I would recommend anyone to watch that just to see what's up with Alan. What's he think? He's very methodical, very coach driven. He is still does the binder.
When we used to have him on, it was fascinating. He still has the binder, right?
Yeah.
There's no computer, right? He's still got the binders for every team.
Right.
Takes meticulous notes on everything.
Oh, yeah.
He's big on game flow, right? How did a result of a game get to that result?
Yep.
And what he can glean from that as a handicapper.
I'll just tell you this. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I've known Alan 20-some years. So 7, 8 years ago, Alan calls me up. He says, listen, I really, really, really feel good about this season. Some really good teams that people just don't know about. Some of these mid-majors and stuff so anyway, I said, Alan, you know what I'll do? I'll make some plays for us. And I said, I'll get the best of the lines, of course, shopping lines. And we went on that season to have a terrible season and won 60 units. And what I mean by that is he was right. The end of the games, the fouls, because let's just face it, Alan was about 70% dogs there. We've lost so many games that the last 2 minutes of the game was unbelievable. We still won 60 units for the season, made a nice chunk. And Alan was telling me about, you know what, we should really do first halves on these games, but there's just not enough market to do first halves. Same thing with March Madness. He gave me, after the break when we come back, I'll give you 3 teams that we're playing in the first half. And it's such the market is just unbelievable. You can still get all the numbers, which is unusual to get all the numbers of a originator.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of a market we have here. Lots of money in town, lots of square money. Parlay cards, how fun. Everyone play parlay cards. Ties lose. Ain't that nice? Just use a mask and a gun. That's what you should use for these parlay cards. Ties lose.
We'll get Alan's picks. By the way, I used to tell him, I was like, why don't you in-game bet? He had no interest. Like, he would be the greatest in-game better ever.
Yeah,
More with the Crack Man, Alan Boston's picks, and beyond. Hour and 15 minutes away from tip-off. West Virginia and Maryland March Madness 2023 gets underway. A couple things. James Salinas just poked his head in studio. Always great to see James, former Super Contest winner, finished 3rd place the next year, 26th place 2 years after that. Great to see him. Everybody said
that's not just luck.
No.
No way.
3 seasons, not really luck at all. Sample size starts to get big enough where you're like, you can draw conclusions for sure. And then Bill Self is going to miss today's game against Howard. Bill Self, who missed the Big 12 tournament, got a couple stints.
Yeah.
While the Big 12 tournament was going on, we assumed he would be on the bench day against Howard. He will not be. Kansas, obviously, huge favorites against the Bison of Howard University out of the MEAC. Let's go Bison, but we wish the best to Bill Self, and I'm sure it's just a recovery mode, and hopefully he'll be back for the second round game, assuming Kansas advances past Howard.
Norm Roberts filling in for the head coaching spot today.
Yeah. Bill Krackomberger, Unscripted in studio, once again, the host of Wisecracks with Bill Krackomberger, which he hosts with John Orlando as well. Kind enough to join us for an early edition of Unscripted with Crackman. Dr. Bob still to come on the show as well with his college hoops picks for today. Dr. Bob making a Thursday appearance. You have some other first half bets you wanted to share, sir.
Let's go to, like I said, the Alan Boston on my podcast, he was talking about the pure line of the first half and he just couldn't get enough money down on it because he likes to bet a little bit early. There's only 4 markets that were open. Literally, we did the podcast Tuesday night. Only 4 places had first half lines up, which was shocking, actually. So the first half being a pure number, yeah, there's some games he liked first half. Again, I'm going to go back to that Princeton first half, which you can get an 8.5 on the first half, which I'm probably going to take advantage of. Matter of fact, Circa, South Point, and Westgate have that. 8 was the number, so now you can take 8.5. I'd rebet it again. Colgate first half versus Texas plus 7.5, and there's one more he gave me. I think he gave 4 out on the show. You guys really want to check that show out if you could. He broke down every single game and gave away a ton of play. Kennesaw first half, Kennesaw State versus Xavier first half plus 7.5. So there's some first half plays that Alan gave out. I tweeted out some different segments of the show, and it's very tough to 1 or 2 games. Let me tell you, he had the loser of the first game of the playing game, and a couple people aren't professionals. They go in there and say stuff, and you know what? It really there's no benefit to really giving stuff out. Alan's just trying to help and purely from his heart, just talking about what the games are. And I wrote the second one, Oral Roberts. He broke it down. I have the tweet out on my Twitter, and I said, yes, Alan and most others who make a living betting sports will lose 42 to 45% of his bets. 1, if you do not use bankroll management /discipline, please do not watch. 2, this is not the lock pick club. It's not the play of the month. That's nothing like that. 3, 55 to 58% will make people in this game a ton of money long term. So it's real simple. If you want to, a couple plays and you want to be bankroll, have bankroll management and not overbet your bankroll, probably should listen to someone like Alan Boston for giving away his plays here. Really good podcast, and I recommend anyone to watch this one. He broke down every single game. He did it last year too, not with me, on his own. This year he did it with me, so that's up there. Early today, going into today's early games here, Furman was the game he gave out on Twitter. So Furman plus 6.5. Oh
yeah,
wow, Furman is down
a little
to 6.
lower now.
Yeah,
5.5.
6, 5.5. So Furman's the one of the early games that starts at 9:40 a.m. our time. Nothing in the Maryland West Virginia game, though he loves. He's a big West Virginia fan, but fan of something doesn't win. We know that long term. So anyway, there's a couple games, and you guys want to check that out. Like I said, real interesting podcast.
How was his season in college basketball this year?
This season he's like even. It's not really didn't really kill. At the beginning of the season he probably did better. Without him here, I wouldn't even know by the end. But I know he gets down on himself a lot.
He does.
Listen,
he does.
We won 60 units.
Yeah.
The whole entire season, he wanted to kill everybody. I mean, he was so mad. Like he gets really down on himself a lot. He's very tough on himself.
Yeah.
But he's in a good place right now.
Good. I'm glad.
He's in a good place. Going to the gym every day. He works out and just mentally, spiritually, I think he's in a good spot. So he's in Connecticut there, and he's got some other kind of edges that we talked about, him and I, that we do, and he'll be okay. So season will be over, and
we only want the best for Alan.
What do you guys do now? What happened? I don't remember. I've been on the show since the beginning. I don't even remember. What do we do after March Madness? Baseball?
We wait for the Masters. We wait for the Masters.
I'll be at the Masters this year.
Yeah, I mean, for those of us who love tennis, there's the second part of the Sunshine Double in Miami.
Right.
There's the Masters comes in April, and obviously then it's the NFL Draft, which is huge, and then it's the Derby, which I was just talking to Chrissy about the other day. It's like the Derby used to be a thing. I don't even feel like I'm even aware of it almost anymore. Like I am that week, maybe a couple days before.
Right.
But I remember it was a thing, and then as baseball has started in early April, then it's all baseball after that. Yeah.
I'll be at the Masters, and I may have something a big surprise for you, but I'll break it now to you. So I'm staying with Casey Kerr, former caddy, 30 years caddy of the Masters, and I'm staying with Shane Lowry's caddy. So Shane Lowry, his caddy even said, I'll get Shane on. We'll throw him on a clip. We'll talk about that when Casey Kerr gave him out here on the show. Yeah. So we may get Shane Lowry for a clip. I'll give it to you for that Thursday show. Right.
Casey Kerr with his Clinton, Maryland / Texas accent on the show. I love that.
That is a strange accent. But going back to these lines, man, I'll tell you, now that they're so ironed out, there's so many eyeballs on these lines, not the totals, but the lines themselves. you really don't see a lot of line movement like you'd see on a normal, Thursday with 50, 60 games, whatever it may be. This is a well-oiled machine of after the openers, circa South Point. How it worked this year was DraftKings, but then South Point came out with some games that DraftKings didn't have. So let me just tell you, if we had DraftKings here to bet, oh boy, there was some sick middles. They were taking 10,000 here at the counter. I was betting 3,000 on the app on some of the games here at South Point. Boy, there was some games opened up 2 at one spot, and this is just one game that opened up 2 at one spot, 5 at another.
Oh yeah, what game was that? We were talking about that earlier.
It might have been San Diego State too. San Diego State opened up a 3 at Circa and 5 at South Point. That was that, but. There were some games that opened up. I had literally like a 3-point middle, but a lot of them were like 2-point middles. And, I'm not really a middle guy, but if it's right there in front of me, I have to bet it.
I'm glad you bring this up because, you hear people talking about also because I'm going to spend most of my day, besides my Carolina Makova pick, I'm going to spend most of it in-game betting college basketball, right? Wishnev is going to do his thing. We're going to all be betting the same things. In game, we're not like there's a lot of people who like to say, we're going to try to set up middles and in game. And my whole thing with that, I always laugh when I hear that. Because,
I laugh too.
Because it's like, okay, like what's going to happen. The number of people who can set up mathematical plus money on both sides of that is so minute. And I would even argue it is not really something you can't get the plus money on both sides at a consistent basis, except for a few people who could do that. Most people who are trying to middle are going to end up squeezing themselves with all the juice, right? As it churns over and over and over again.
Good luck to them.
And then when they hit a middle, they only want to talk about hitting the middle, and they have no mathematical sense whatsoever. We're going to in-game it. We're going to try to beat it, but we're not trying to middle anything.
And you know what? I know a group that went bust.
Yes.
About
Of course they did.
15 years ago, betting college football middles on totals.
Yeah.
On the totals. They just went bust. Listen, there's stuff like things present themselves. I did lay I laid 16 and I took 21 on a game, but it was only because it was in town here. Let me just think. Oh, it was a Houston game. So Houston, one spot open, I had 16, another spot at 21. Listen, I don't know the math behind that, but I know that's worth a play.
Yes.
I mean, the higher it gets, obviously.
Yes.
The higher it gets, obviously, the less you need more points and more of a spread. But the key numbers are 1, 2, and the key numbers are 2 and 3 in basketball. 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess, in college basketball. The lower the total, the more value that is also. But there's just some things that presented themselves. Texas was opened up at 12 at Circa, opened up 15 at South Point. By the way, you had a full 45 seconds on these too. So I'm sure I'm giving away you're giving away everyone's edges. You know why you're not giving away edges? People don't have the money to put up for these things.
Right.
People don't have $3,000 to put up at South Point and $3,000 to put up at Circa. It takes a lot of money to do this. So I seen Jimmy Vaccaro twice. I just seen him walking by. He looks like he's the head of one of he looks like the head of the Kansas City mob or something.
He's milling about.
Walked around. I seen him before. He tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "Good luck this weekend, kid."
Yeah.
I mean,
kid calls everybody kid.
I just seen him walk around again. He has a slow, methodical walk. He's got this hoodie on, and he's got the hair. I would give him $10,000 for his hair right now, but he probably doesn't need that after.
He's phenomenal. He rolled by me the other day. I was betting some in-game of college basketball. He's like, "Keep doing what you're doing, kid."
That's what he did. Yeah. And then I seen him moseying, and here he comes again.
He's right.
He'll be right behind us right now. We'll see him. He's right there. Turn around and look. He's looking at us. There he is. Hey, there he is.
Jimmy Vaccaro, everybody, living legend. By the way, real quick before we go to break, more with Crackman afterwards. But Will Hill, who is leading. We should point out he was on the show yesterday. He's leading the Circa Challenge, the handicapping contest, the Circa College Hoops Challenge, which has 10 games left. He's got a 2-game lead over both Jim Root and Tim Murray right now, nursing the 2-game lead with 10 to play. Want to know his 5 picks that he ended up with?
Look at Jimmy just on the prowl. There we go.
Look at him. Look at that.
Isaiah's got him. Caught him in the wild.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you betting?
Paul Castellano. I was like, boss of bosses.
Will Hill's picks today. Kansas, he laid 22 versus Howard. Houston, he laid the 19.5 versus Northern Kentucky. Alabama, he laid the 23.5 versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Laid the wood with the heavy favorites. And then he gave out the other 2 yesterday on the show. He is on West Virginia minus the 2 versus Maryland. And he also is on Furman plus the 5.5. Bill, it's always, first of all, let me just say this. Jeff Parlay said it earlier. if it's not he said it's the greatest bet. It's the greatest sports day of the year. I really believe it might be. The buzz in the air. It's unlike anything. If you've never been to Vegas, it's unlike anything. Even the Super Bowl is. The Super Bowl is awesome.
This is bigger.
This is bigger.
This is bigger.
It's bigger. It's always been bigger.
People are crazy. Yeah.
There's a couple things, though. One, the weather. When me and my boys in D.C., when I used to live in San Francisco and they lived in D.C., we would use Vegas as a meeting point before VEASAN. We could always count on pool weather the first weekend of March Madness.
Wow.
The last 5 or 6 years, you can't count on it.
Oh, especially
I think we've had one sunny weekend of the first week of March Madness.
Wow.
It's as if the climate has changed, Kelley.
You're right.
Global
My buddies
warming.
used to come out like that for March Madness, and they were at the pool every year.
Time.
I forgot about it till you just said it.
Not anymore.
Every year for a decade and a half they were here, and they used to come out before New Jersey got sports betting. And they were at the pool the first weekend.
We'd be betting at the pool.
Holy God.
Running in and out before mobile.
You're right. That hasn't happened in 6, 7 with just bad weather.
It's just
something changed.
It doesn't get warmer soon enough anymore.
Yeah.
So that's been a sort of thing the last 5 or 6 years. But it's still the greatest atmosphere there could ever possibly be.
Quick update from the atmosphere of the South Point Sportsbook.
Please.
I was just out there.
Please.
I don't know. What do we have? Hundreds at this point? There's probably 200 people out there in the sportsbook. 100,
at least
200, something like that.
I'll say at least.
And a lot of betting going on. We got the screens, no volume. So there's the funny South Point like music playing, and all these people like running around trying to get bets in.
If we could make one, if they ever asked us for our advice, which they don't. But if they did, I'd be like, yeah, turn up something.
Like there's Sports Center on.
Turn us up.
We could be on. Yeah,
we could be on.
That could be an option.
Yeah. Hear the crack man going through
All
this.
those people are just out there like listening to old Taylor Swift songs that they're replaying on the South Point speakers.
Everybody planting their flag, though. They want their territory. The Wishnev section now. We're live at the Wishnev section of the South Point.
How does that work? You didn't have to like set up a tent overnight or anything?
I don't think so. I think the seas just part for that guy. I'm pretty sure here at the South Point. I think so. Any other Alan Boston comments you want to make in tribute to Alan here?
I'll put up tweets throughout the day with some of the picks if you don't get to watch the whole podcast and some of the things he really likes and I mean those games, by the way, he that I gave earlier, Princeton, Colgate, and I think I gave another Kennesaw. Also he bet them for the full game, but the first half probably has some value. And again, the line shopping is very important. You can go and line shop on like Gonzaga, Grand Canyon. We kind of like that for a peanut for the game.
A peanut.
Yeah, well, you know what though? There's a syndicate on Gonzaga. So what I'm saying is you could look at the difference on my screen. I could see from 15 to 16, first half 8.5 to 9. These little half points mean so much long term.
We always say that Fezzik, when we're betting live too. It's like if you don't think a half point or a point matters, wait till you get to that moment at the end of your bet, right? When you're sweating that point or that half point. It means so very much.
You know, there's a big match, and sometimes matches are, for some reason, there's the gods. When these three guys match, they said that they had a losing year on this, but they match, and Allen actually matches too. 3-man weave and Allen both like Creighton over NC State.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people do. 3-man weave who used to work with Allen. By the way,
that's right. That's right. But I hate laying points. But on March Madness, you could. Matter of fact, you said Will Hill, some of those big favorites. Allen would agree on a couple of those big favorites. But it matters when you're putting your subs in the second half and stuff. So
the back door is open.
The back door. That's right. That's right. So just wanted to say that.
By the way, real quick, because I feel remiss if I don't even bring this up. 3 years ago today, Bill.
Right.
3 years ago today. Oh, yeah. We will always share this moment.
We will.
It's me, you, and Parles. Yep. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we were there when it was all shutting down. No. It was during our show.
3 years ago, yeah.
It was literally when the world shut down 3 years ago. We're on the air.
Just what happens, the games were different. It wasn't for some reason we were conference tournaments.
Oh no! Wait a minute. You're right. It wasn't. Right? It was 3 years ago last week.
Oh, was
Pardon me.
Oh,
yes.
Last week. Okay.
3 years ago last week because it was the conference tournaments that shut down.
I was wrong too. Then it was conference tournaments.
That's right.
I remember Big East. Didn't they put they put like St. John's on the court and took them off or something?
St. John's and DePaul were playing. So every conference, the Ivy League had already shut down, but then conference by conference they started shutting down. And somehow the Big East didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
Or they didn't. They were like, I don't know. And St. John's and DePaul played a first half of basketball.
First half, that was it.
And we walked out of here, and I remember Wishnev was out there, and we're like, I think now they're taking him off the court. It was the most surreal thing ever.
Parles left and Wishnev left right after. Yeah.
Parles left.
Yeah,
Parles was gone.
That was it. Like the Omega Man. He just ran out.
And by the way, my last thing was 2 days after that. So it was Saturday after, 2 days after the tournaments were shut down. And Alan Boston and I sat here in studio on a Saturday. We set up the studio, and for an hour and a half, and that podcast is still out there, we talked about just his life. So it was nothing about picks or anything because there was no sports going on.
Oh, it might have been fascinating.
It was, I spoke, if it was an hour and a half, words came out of my mouth for maybe 2.5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It was just him talking about his up and downs in life. That's what I was really trying to get to with this. And he was really blunt and open about it.
That's what he is. I mean, sometimes that's why he's got a potty mouth. It just comes out.
See, on the podcast I can handle that, but I can't do that on the radio.
We have something in common, and we may have something special coming up because we Alan and I both know Billy Walters very well, and he's only been a good guy to us, and good guy to me, good guy to Alan, and Alan worked for him for decade, and we may have a little bit of a show us three together. Do a little podcast together.
Alan's been wanting to do one with Billy Walters for a long, long time.
Yeah. I'm hoping that happens. That'll be pretty cool because if we could talk about some of the things, it would have to be more of a lawyer thing. Going to a lawyer and finding out what can we actually talk about.
Got to clear every sentence.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Can we hear that?
Well, situationally, I just think there's some really good stuff to talk about, and I think it's okay. I think it's not only statute of limitations, but we're betting. We're paying tax. I mean, you would have seen the quarterly estimated tax payment I just made a couple of days ago. I mean, I pay tax on gaming wins. So does Billy Walters. Alan calls him Mr. Walters. He will not.
He does. He calls him Mr. Walters. Where does Bill Krackomberger watch March Madness?
I'm heading over to Wynn.
Beautiful.
For a while. I got some friends in town.
What a beautiful
that are coming in. I hate watching this and crazy, everyone screaming and yelling, but it's fun. I understand.
No smoking there.
No smoking there.
It's a beautiful thing.
So any of the telephone tough guys that want to come after us, that's where I'll be. Actually, today you don't want to go there. I just thought about one of the mooses coming in. Yeah, you don't want to. But I'm there a lot, so and I'm just kind of fooling around.
That's what's tough, though. I agree with you, Bill. Like the atmosphere's fun for a bit, but eventually I want to be able to watch the games and kind of hear stuff, and then it just gets too crazy sometimes around here.
We were trying to go to a really small sports book on the Strip. We thought we had seats. We don't, as it turns out. And I would have gone there, but the alternative to that is I just want to be what you were saying, Kelley. I actually want to watch the games themselves, so I like a little solitude.
Oh, so your sushi place agreed to give you a spot there to watch the
game? Boom. Yeah, it's just me at the sushi place. They're setting up the TVs for me. And
you're going to be with Todd doing some live wagering?
We're going to do it via text now. We're not going to be together. We were going to go to this little, where we were going to go was.
Can you announce where you're going for the games?
I'm going to be at home.
Oh, you're going home?
Yeah, no, I am now because we didn't get those seats. He's going to be here at the South Point for people who want to see him.
Okay.
I'm going to be at home. I'm going to be watching the games between, again, and here it is, your annual reminder, ladies and gentlemen, to find True TV on your television sets. It's CBS, TBS, TNT, and True. Those are your four networks.
You know what's nice, though, is now they have the remotes you just talk into.
Yeah.
I don't know what channel anything is anymore, but I just talk into my remote.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah. So that's what I'll do today. We'll see about tomorrow.
That Alabama game, did you say Will Hill was on that? The favorite
Will
Alabama?
Hill
I think you said.
I do believe I said that. Yes, he is on Alabama.
It's that easily can. I hate laying 24 points on anything, but that. I didn't bet it yet, but I actually may look at that too because there's a couple different guys on. As a matter of fact, I don't know those guys on 3-Man Weave. I don't know who they are. I don't know them, but they had a podcast they put up Monday too. It was very good, very informative.
Kai, and Jim.
Oh, there you go.
Well, let me just, since we're plugging podcasts, again, the Beating the Book podcast is still out there. That was Will Hill, Todd Wishnev, Jeff Parles, and me. Every single game. Not only advancing your bracket, but ATS thoughts as well. Final fours given out. You can find that at vsin.com/podcast. It's the Beating the Book March Madness special. It is our most listened to podcast each and every year. Todd's Final Four is Meshuggah. It's absolutely nuts. And Will, and he announced this yesterday on the show, has a very surprise Final Four pick. and it goes by the name of Florida Atlantic, getting all the way to the Final Four. So that's the Beating the Book March Madness podcast.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.